You're up $3,000 this week. 5 wins in a row. Every setup you touch turns green. The chart speaks to you now in a language you understand perfectly, and you begin to think you've finally cracked it. This is the moment. This is when everything you studied, every hour watching price action, every loss you endured as tuition, it all makes sense now. You feel it in your chest. Confidence. No more than confidence, certainty. You've arrived, and that feeling right there, that surge of invincibility coursing through your veins, that's the most dangerous emotion you'll ever experience as a trader. I know this because I've lived it. I've felt the electricity of a winning streak so powerful it convinced me the market had finally surrendered its secrets to me alone. I've watched my account grow by $4,000 in 6 days and thought to myself, why am I trading such small size? I've broken every rule I set for myself, not out of fear or greed, but out of pure crystalline conviction that I no longer needed those rules. I knew better now. The market had proven it. 3 weeks later, I was down $11,000. The money was gone. But worse than the money, my psychology was shattered. My discipline had evaporated. My consistency had become a distant memory. And I couldn't figure out what happened. I hadn't changed. The strategy was the same. The market was the same. But I had changed. Overconfidence had crept in so quietly, so naturally that I mistook it for skill. And by the time I realized what was happening, my account was already bleeding out. This is not a story about greed. This is not about revenge trading or emotional spirals after losses. This is about something far more insidious. This is about the silent account killer that arrives not when you're afraid, but when you feel most certain. When your results have convinced you that you're different, that the rules don't apply to you anymore, that you've become the exception. You haven't. And the market is about to teach you that lesson in the most expensive way possible. Let me show you exactly how it happens. Let me show you the progression that takes a disciplined trader and turns them into someone who doesn't recognize themselves in the mirror 3 weeks later. It starts with results. Not just any results, consistent results. You risk 1% per trade. You follow your rules with patience, and the market rewards you. 5 trades, 5 wins. Your confidence grows, and this part is healthy. This part is good. Every professional trader needs confidence. You need to trust your edge, trust your system, trust that your process works over the long term. Without confidence, you can't pull the trigger when your setup appears. But somewhere between trade 5 and trade 8, something shifts. The confidence stops being about your system and starts being about you. Your brain, desperate to make sense of your success, begins constructing a narrative. You're not winning because you're following a statistical edge with proper risk management. You're winning because you're good at this. You're winning because you understand the market in a way others don't. You're winning because you have a gift. This is where the psychology turns lethal. Your next trade setup appears, and instead of risking your standard 1%, you risk 2, not because your system says to, not because your rules allow it, but because you feel it. You're confident. You've been right 5 times in a row, and this one looks even better than the last 5. Why wouldn't you press your advantage? Why wouldn't you maximize this moment when you're clearly in the zone? The trade wins. Of course it does. And now you've just taught your brain the most dangerous lesson it can learn. Breaking your rules works. Discipline was holding you back. Consistency was limiting your potential. The real money, the millionaire level money, comes from recognizing these golden opportunities and having the confidence to act on them fully. You don't think of it as greed. Greed is what amateurs feel, that desperate, fearful grasping at money they don't have. What you feel is clarity. You feel like you're finally trading the way professionals do, decisively, boldly, without the hesitation and fear that plagued your early days. 3 trades later, you're risking 4%. You've moved your stop loss twice this week because the trade just needed a little more breathing room and you knew it would come back. You've taken setups that don't quite match your criteria because your instinct told you it would work anyway. And it did work. Your account is up 28% this month. Your discipline is completely gone. Your rules are suggestions now, guidelines for normal traders, but you're not normal anymore. You're riding a wave that only comes around once in a while, and you're smart enough to recognize it and confident enough to capitalize on it. You look at your spreadsheet of past trades, back when you were risking 1% and following every rule, and it feels almost quaint. That was the old you, the afraid you, the you who didn't understand yet. and then the market shifts. One setup fails, then another. But you don't reduce your size back to 1%. You don't return to your rules, because you're still confident. These are just normal losses. Variance, you've hit a small rough patch, but your understanding of the market hasn't changed. Your edge is still there. You just need to wait for the right setup, and when it comes, you'll risk enough to make it matter. The psychology has fully inverted now. You started trading to build long-term wealth with patience and consistency. But overconfidence has convinced you that the path to becoming a millionaire runs through these big, bold, confident bets, and your recent results have proven it. The market is about to prove otherwise. Here's what I learned after I blew through those $11,000. Here's the truth that every consistently profitable trader eventually discovers, usually after paying tuition in the form of a blown account or a devastating drawdown. Here's the psychological shift that separates the amateurs from the professionals. The dreamers from the millionaire traders who actually survive long enough to compound their edge. Confidence and overconfidence aren't two different things. They're the same thing pointed in opposite directions. Confidence says, I trust my process. Overconfidence says, I trust my judgment. Confidence says, my system has an edge over thousands of trades. Overconfidence says, I have an edge over the market right now. Confidence says, I will follow my rules because they protect me when I'm wrong. Overconfidence says, I can break my rules because I know when I'm right. Do you see the difference? Do you see how subtle the line is, how easy it is to cross without even realizing you've crossed it? You feel exactly the same in both states. The emotion is identical. Your heart rate is the same. Your conviction feels pure. But one psychology builds long-term wealth and the other destroys accounts so completely that traders quit and never come back. The brutal truth is this: your winning streak taught you nothing about your skill. 5 wins in a row, 8 wins in a row, even 15 wins in a row, none of it proves you've mastered the market. It proves you got lucky with variance in a small sample size. And I know how that sounds. I know it feels insulting. You worked hard, you studied, you developed genuine skill. And you did, but that skill expresses itself over hundreds of trades, not 8. Over 8 trades, luck and skill are completely indistinguishable. But your brain can't accept that. Your psychology needs to believe that your recent results reflect your ability, because if they don't, then you have no control, and traders can't tolerate lack of control, so your mind creates a story, a narrative where you're the hero who finally figured it out, where your success is earned, deserved, and sustainable, where the next trade is just as certain as the last 5 because you've reached a new level of understanding. This is the most expensive story you'll ever tell yourself. Every professional trader I know, everyone who's made consistent money over years and compounded their account into 6 or 7 figures, has learned to distrust their own confidence. They've learned the moment they start feeling like they can't lose is precisely the moment they're about to lose everything. They've developed a healthy paranoia, a constant vigilance against their own certainty. They know something you're just beginning to learn. The market doesn't reward confidence. It rewards discipline. It rewards consistency. It rewards patience. It rewards patience. It rewards following a process with unwavering repetition, even when that process feels boring, mechanical, and far less exciting than the stories your brain wants to tell about your trading genius. Let me give you the framework that changed everything for me. I call it the confidence hierarchy, and it's the difference between sustainable confidence and account-killing overconfidence. At the bottom of the hierarchy is confidence in outcomes. This is where amateurs live. They're confident they'll win the next trade. They're confident about the direction of price over the next 4 hours. They're confident they've identified the perfect entry. This confidence is pure delusion because nobody can consistently predict specific outcomes in a probabilistic system. Nobody. Not you, not me, not the hedge fund manager with 40 years of experience. Every single trade is uncertain. Every single trade could lose. And any psychology built on outcome confidence will eventually shatter against this reality. One level up is confidence in analysis. This is better but still dangerous. You're confident your technical analysis is correct. You're confident your interpretation of the chart is accurate. You're confident you've read the momentum properly. This feels more sophisticated than outcome confidence, and it is, but it still puts your trust in judgment rather than process, and judgment fails. You'll misjudge momentum, you'll misread price action, you'll convince yourself a setup looks good when it doesn't meet your criteria, Analysis confidence leads to the same place as outcome confidence. It just takes longer to destroy your account. At the top of the hierarchy is confidence in process. This is where professionals live. You're not confident about the next trade's outcome. You're not even confident your analysis is perfect. You're confident that if you follow your rules with absolute consistency over hundreds of trades, you'll make money. You're confident in the mathematics of your edge. You're confident in your discipline. You're confident that your process protects you from yourself. This is the only confidence that doesn't kill accounts. This is the only confidence that compounds. This is the only confidence that turns a trader into a consistent income generator and over years, potentially into a millionaire. But here's the part that makes this so difficult. Process confidence feels boring. It feels limiting. It feels like you're trading with the handbrake on. When you're on a winning streak and your account is growing and you feel like you finally understand what the market is doing, process confidence feels like fear dressed up as discipline. It feels like you're holding yourself back from your true potential. And this is the test, this is the psychological crucible every trader must pass through. You must be willing to trade like a robot when every cell in your body is screaming that you're special, that you're different, that you've earned the right to trust your judgment over your rules. You must be willing to risk 1% on the trade that feels like the surest thing you've ever seen. You must be willing to sit out the setup that doesn't quite meet your criteria even though you're certain it will work. You must be willing to look like an amateur, to feel like you're being overly cautious, to watch opportunities pass by while you stick to your process. Because the traders who can't do this, who can't subordinate their confidence to their discipline, who can't resist the pull of their own certainty, they all blow up eventually. All of them. I've watched it happen dozens of times. I've experienced it myself. The market has infinite patience. It will wait for your overconfidence to peak, and then it will take everything you've gained and more. The money you made during your winning streak, that wasn't profit. That was a loan from the market, and the interest rate is 100%. The market always collects, so here's what you do instead. Here's the daily practice that prevents overconfidence from taking root. The mental discipline that keeps you grounded no matter how well you're trading. First, you separate your psychology from your results. Completely. You stop using winning trades as evidence that you're a good trader and losing trades as evidence that you're a bad trader. You recognize that any individual trade or any short streak of trades tells you exactly nothing about your skill. Your results over 8 trades are noise. Your results over 8 trades are starting to matter. Your results over 800 trades are your actual edge expressing itself. Second, you maintain your rules with religious precision, specifically when you least want to. When you're winning, when you feel certain, when breaking the rules seems obviously correct, this is when the rule matters most. You risk your standard position size on every trade. You take only setups that meet all your criteria. You move your stop loss never, not because you're afraid, not because you lack confidence, but because your confidence is in the process, and the process includes these moments when your judgment is screaming at you to deviate. Third, you cultivate humility as a daily practice. Before every trading session, you remind yourself that you don't know what will happen next. You don't know if today will be a winning day or a losing day. You don't know if you're about to enter a drawdown that will test every ounce of your patience and discipline. You accept uncertainty as the water you swim in. And instead of trying to eliminate that uncertainty through confidence in your judgment, you embrace it and let your process guide you through it. Fourth, you track your compliance with your rules separately from your profit and loss. Did you follow your entry criteria? Did you maintain your position size? Did you honor your stop loss? These are the only metrics that measure your actual skill as a trader. Your dollar results measure your edge plus variance. Your compliance measures your psychology, and your psychology is the only thing you control. The paradox is this: the less confident you are in your ability to predict any individual trade, the more confident you become in your ability to make money long term. The more you distrust your own certainty, the more you trust your process. The more boring your trading becomes, the more profitable it becomes. This is not intuitive. This goes against everything your brain wants. Your brain wants drama. It wants the rush of a big win on a confident trade. It wants to feel smart and skilled and special, and the market will gladly give you that feeling, briefly right before it takes your money. Professional traders don't trade for feelings. They don't trade for excitement. They don't trade to prove they're smart. They trade to execute a process that has a positive expectancy over time, and they subordinate every emotion, every judgment, every impulse to that process. They're not trying to become millionaires overnight. They're trying to not blow up today, tomorrow, and the day after that, knowing that if they can do that consistently for years, the compounding takes care of the rest. Your winning streak didn't make you a better trader. It gave you the capital and the confidence to destroy yourself if you're not careful. The traders who survive winning streaks are the ones who become more disciplined, not less. They tighten their rules. They reduce their position size. They become more conservative, not more aggressive, because they know what's coming. What's coming is variance swinging the other direction. What's coming is a losing streak that will test whether your confidence was built on results or process. What's coming is the moment where you'll either prove you've learned this lesson or pay to learn it again. The choice is yours, but the market doesn't care which you choose. It will teach you either way. I want you to understand something about the path ahead. You're going to win again. You're going to have another streak where everything clicks and your account grows and that feeling of certainty returns. It's inevitable. If you trade long enough with a genuine edge, variance will swing in your favor multiple times. This isn't a warning to avoid winning. This is a reminder that winning is when the real work begins. The traders who make it, who survive 5 years and 10 years and build genuine wealth through consistent compounding, aren't the ones who avoid overconfidence by never winning. They're the ones who learn to win without letting the winning change their psychology. They learn to treat a 5-trade winning streak with the exact same mindset as a 5-trade losing streak. They learned that results are temporary and process is permanent. You cannot build a millionaire account on confidence in your judgment. You can only build it on confidence in your discipline. Every dollar you compound, every percentage point your account grows long term, comes from the boring repetition of following the same rules on Trade 400 that you followed on Trade 4. The market doesn't reward your ability to feel certain. It rewards your ability to stay uncertain and trade anyway. Here's the daily practice that will save you thousands of dollars and years of psychological damage. Before every trading session, you're going to write down 3 sentences. Not think them, write them. The physical act of writing rewires the psychology in ways that thinking alone cannot achieve. Sentence 1. I do not know what will happen on any trade I take today. This resets your mindset from prediction to process. It acknowledges uncertainty as your starting point rather than something to overcome. Sentence 2. My edge expresses itself over hundreds of trades, not today's trades. This removes the emotional weight from any individual result. Today doesn't determine whether you're a good trader. Today is one data point in a career. Sentence 3. I will follow my rules with perfect consistency regardless of how I feel. This is your commitment, not to making money today, not to being right, but to honoring the process that protects you from yourself. Write these 3 sentences. Say them out loud. Let them become the foundation of your trading mindset before your hand ever touches the mouse. This is not motivational. This is not inspirational. This is psychological maintenance. The same way you'd warm up before a workout or check your instruments before a flight, you're calibrating your mindset before you enter the arena where emotion and money collide. And when you feel that surge of confidence returning, when you're tempted to increase your position size or take a setup that doesn't quite meet your criteria or move your stop loss because you're certain this time, pause. Take 3 breaths. Ask yourself one question: am I following my process or trusting my judgment? If the answer is judgment, you step away. You let the trade go. You remind yourself that you're not trading to feel smart or prove you're right. You're trading to execute a process with an edge, and that process includes letting go of the trades where your confidence outweighs your discipline. The irony is that the traders who become genuinely wealthy through trading are the ones who stopped chasing wealth and started protecting their psychology. They realized that consistency compounds far more powerfully than confidence. They learned that patience applied over years with unwavering discipline creates results that no amount of bold, certain trading ever could. You have everything you need right now. You don't need more confidence. You don't need to feel more certain. You don't need to trade bigger or bolder or with more conviction. You need to trust your process enough to follow it even when your brain is screaming that you know better. The market will test you on this. Again and again, it will give you winning streaks designed to inflate your confidence, right before it takes everything back. This is not personal. This is not the market punishing you. This is probability playing out exactly as it always does. And the traders who understand this, who see the test coming, and refuse to take the bait, are the ones who survive long enough for the edge to compound. Your account doesn't grow from the trades where you were confident. It grows from the trades where you were disciplined. The money you'll still have 5 years from now isn't the money you made by trusting your judgment on a perfect setup. It's the money you kept by refusing to risk more than your rules allowed on a trade that felt certain. Overconfidence isn't your enemy. It's your signal. The moment you feel invincible is the moment you return to your rules with renewed commitment. The moment you think you've figured it out is the moment you remind yourself that the market has nothing to figure out, it just moves, and your job is to respond with discipline, not certainty. This is the mindset that survives. This is the psychology that compounds. This is how you trade today in a way that your future self will thank you for. The market is still there, your process is still valid, your edge still exists. The only question is whether you'll trust it enough to let it work over the long term, or whether you'll let confidence destroy what discipline built. You already know the answer, now go trade like it.